I have got a different setup today, so I've got my larger camera set with me here. So I'll just go ahead and show you guys a little bit of what I'm working with here, and then what I'm planning for today, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm hoping to get a lot of good conversations in today. Last time I only got in, I think, three full kind of conversations. One of them was a pretty long conversation, and I'm hoping that this time I'll be able to talk to maybe more people and maybe for a little bit shorter of a time. So, without further ado, basically, I've got my recording thing here, and then I've got a different microphone. So, the mic that I'm speaking into for this stream is this one on the back here, and then this device is plugged into this setup here. So I've got my camera here, and then basically I've got this field monitor here. So you can see my arm in it. That's not a reflection. That's actually part of the screen, of the camera. So my hope is that I'll be able to make higher quality, like widescreen, full length kind of video from this stream. Sorry, one second, almost went in my ear. So that's the plan today. It was a little bit more complicated of a setup, but hey, real thing, great to see you. But basically, yeah. So I'm going to be producing like an actual video for my channel from here, and then I'm basically recording on two different devices here. So one is going to be for the stream, obviously, and then the other one is going to be a stream that I sync in post-production, if you will. Sounds so fancy, in post-production. So that's the plan. I've got some literature, and then today I also have an iPad with me, so I'll be able to show people some footage. I was able to download a shortened version of Dominion, so that's what I'll show people, because I think some people just need to see the footage. I think that we can talk about it, but eventually what it comes down to is that people just kind of need to see what we're actually talking about when we talk about exploitation and torture and things like that when it comes to the non-human animals. So I think that basically covers it. I think maybe only just Real Things on here right now, but in any case, yeah, it's a lot warmer today. It's really a beautiful day, actually. It's like maybe low 70s. I'm in short sleeves and shorts and very comfortable. But yeah, my hope is that I'll be able to produce some higher quality video from this. I mean, I only have an iPhone 10, so it's not the greatest quality for this stream, especially when it comes to posting like, YouTube videos or shorts and things like that, where you end up having to crop stuff. So in any case, that's the setup. And then I've just got a little phone holder thing attached to the camera tripod. So I'll go ahead and just mount this on there. I'll make sure that both of the frames are more or less in sync, aligned with each other, and then we'll go ahead and get started. You might hear a little bit of background noise while I do this. I do apologize for that. Hopefully not too much. All right, so the phone is clipped in. I see a couple more people join. Thanks for being here. I'm trying a new setup today where I have a live stream simultaneously with like a more with a higher quality video setup. I hope this doesn't shake too much. I hope I didn't lose the audio here. Looks good, I think. Okay, so that's basically that's the deal for today. The only kind of drawback, if you will, of making the higher quality videos is that I have to tell people like, hey, I'm streaming on YouTube. I always tell them that, and then I'm going to tell them that I'm going to just hit record on the camera itself. Yeah, it's a big tower. Okay, great. So let me just make sure that I'm not really a big fan of how these streams are aligned, right? I mean, how the devices are aligned. So let me try. There might be a little bit of shaking right now. Eat a vegan steak, get $10. That would be an interesting one. But I do worry a little bit about giving people food because you have to get a permit and stuff like that. But thanks for your comment anyway, some jerk. No worries about being here. This isn't a channel only for vegans. I totally welcome non-vegans alike. So I do appreciate your being here and hope you're having a good Saturday. Okay, so let me go ahead and check how this looks when I when I zoom out, or when I step away rather. Let me see how the zoom is. Okay, so I think it's just the nature of the beast. It's a little bit narrow. Um, we just have to learn to live with that. And but if you're still here, some jerk, seitan. It's if you're not gluten free, you can definitely eat seitan, and you can get a really close approximation to the texture of cow flesh. So maybe check out seitan. It's Seitan. Okay, checking again. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. And okay, I think we're good. I think we are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and move this whole setup to the sidewalk and we'll get started. Um, and yeah, thanks for being here. It's a beautiful day. We've got 92% battery on the phone. I've got tons of spare camera battery. So even if I have to end the live stream, I might just keep going. And let's do it. So there's going to be a little bit of shaking. And the camera will stop shaking in a little while. I'm just kind of lugging my stuff over. I'm just out here by myself today, so I'm just lugging this whole apparatus over to next to the sidewalk where the people are. So enjoy the aerial journey here. Journey. We love our journeys. We vegans do love journeys. Okay, we got this set up like so. Maybe we pull it out a little bit more. Hopefully, this will be a good spot. Let us see here. Okay, I think this might be good here. Okay. All right. I do apologize again for the shaking. Oh, looks like our field monitor lost its signal. So let me just check on that. It is hot today. Last time it was a little cold. This time it's a little hot, but I'd take the hot over the cold any day. So let me check on the camera again right quick. Let's turn it off and on. When in doubt, just reset. And let's see. Our field monitor still has no signal coming in. Let me try unplugging it and plugging it back in. I do appreciate you guys' patience with this process here. Let's see. Okay, live monitor. Okay, we are in action. Good to go here. I'll go ahead and get my sign out. So I'm going to not record on this camera until someone's actually here because I do want to save memory. That's the only, like I was saying, that's kind of the only drawback of this setup here. For those of you just joining, I basically have, I can just show you real quick. So I have this setup here where, let me make sure I can see it in the view. So I have my camera set up with a field monitor up here so I can see the interactions, and then I also have my phone that's going to be on this thing here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but basically we're doing a little bit of a fancier setup today so that I can make some longer form videos out of this, kind of similar to like the AV videos that I've made in the past. So I think we are all good. Everything's level. I'm gonna go ahead and get my sign. I think people are starting to wonder what this crazy guy's doing here. Again, thank you guys for being here, and we'll go ahead and get started. It's the waiting game now. The camera might be a little bit more intimidating to people since I have this whole setup, whereas last time I just had a tripod, but we'll see how it goes. I was kind of spoiled for choice last time. I was only maybe standing around for a minute and a half, if that. So we'll just see. You know, people are either open to it or they're not. That's what I find. It's not even so much in the presentation as much as it is in just who you come across. So let's see what happens here. I'm being more reserved right now. I'm making a lot of eye contact, but I'm refraining from inviting people verbally just yet. I'm just kind of getting a feel for, kind of like reading the room, if you will. There's a ton of people out, so there will be a biter soon. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe turn this whole setup just a little bit so you guys can kind of see a little bit more what's going on here. I think that is still pretty level here. Let me just go ahead and fix the monitor for a second. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Welcome. Just so you know, we are live on YouTube. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me put the sign down. So you don't mind being recorded, right?
No, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. So let's just make sure that we're in the frame here. We got to kind of look at that and that.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for stopping. What's your name?
Josh.
Hi, Josh. I'm Haas. And so basically, I'm just going to ask you a series of questions that's going to try to kind of like make you think from maybe a different perspective. So you might not be able to tell where it's going initially, but then and as I ask you more questions, it'll kind of start to make sense a little bit. I appreciate your participating in advance. So what do you define oppression as?
Oppression. I guess living in circumstances that are less than ideal or what we're individually used to.
I like that. The only thing I would maybe change on it is maybe just that there's something imposed upon you. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions about oppression and ask you if this modifier makes it kind of okay to oppress another being. So if the oppressor is much more powerful, would that make it okay to impose oppression on another?
Well, what power are we talking about?
Any kind of power.
I mean, there has to be a balance, right? You can't have one that has more power than the other. But it's hard for me to look at hypotheticals. It's easier for me to look at specifics, but we're talking about a certain person and what they're doing.
Sure, I can give an example. For example, if someone has more physical power and they want to dominate someone physically against their will.
Okay. Yeah. That's
still wrong.
Yeah, still wrong.
Yeah. What would you say if the victim of the oppression is not aware of their oppression? So if the oppressor is, let's say, intellectually superior, does that make it okay?
I don't know. We all have to have like a moral compass, and you got to be able to read the room and know if you're in the position where you have too much power. Say it's intellectual power. If you have too much power, I don't know. Maybe not scaling it back, but everybody's human, so you have to. I don't know. You kind of got to adjust it, right? There has to be like a sliding scale of like how much you use that power versus how little you use that power. If that makes sense at all.
But if you're using the power to oppress the other being, it's still wrong.
Yeah, it's still wrong.
Yeah, I'm just focused just on oppression.
Okay.
If the victim is, let's say, different looking than the one being oppressed, would that be a good justification?
I don't know. I mean, different looking can mean so many things. It could be physical weight. Sure. It could be how much you work out in the gym.
Sure.
You see some of these guys that play sports. I mean, they look like giants compared to most of us. So,
but that wouldn't give them the right to oppress, right?
No, definitely not give them the right. But it does make it, I guess, easier for them.
Easier, of course, but not justified.
Yeah, not justified.
Perfect. And this is open-ended for, it's intentionally open-ended. So where I'm heading with all this, I know you're with the group, so I don't want to hold you back too long. My reason for bringing this all up is because I'm wondering how you feel about the non-human animals, the ones who we force into slaughterhouses against their will. Do you view them as an oppressed class who may not be aware of what's happening, may not be able to fully comprehend, is less powerful than us, isn't going to be able to free themselves, and is being basically forced into a situation that's imposed upon them?
It's an interesting take.
I appreciate that.
No, it is an interesting take. I mean, I've never physically seen a slaughterhouse or chicken farmers that do chickens and stuff like that. I've seen videos and documentaries, and you're looking at it from a distance, not knowing anything about the process of what like cows and pigs and chickens have to go through to get to our table. But it is on a mass scale. We know that much. So would I consider it oppression? I mean, compared to most animals, it seems like we're superior, if you want to use that word, the human race.
Yeah, intellectually, absolutely, we are.
And we have to eat something. So it's like, I don't know. Are they oppressed? By definition and standards? Yeah, I guess so. But I don't think most of us really think about that on a daily basis.
It's absolutely the case. And this is why I kind of told you initially that you might have to think in a little bit different of a perspective, because to credit your point, as you go throughout your day, you see billboards like chicken sandwich, $1.99, whatever. You see all these things that make this absolutely normal for us.
Yeah.
And we don't really think twice about going through a drive-through and deciding between a chicken quesadilla or a beef taco, and we have these euphemisms too for cow flesh, we call it beef.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken's a little bit different of a situation, but in any case, when we put ourselves in their position, we realize that they have an entire life that gets taken away from them for something that's just 15 minutes of gustatory pleasure. It's not even something that we necessarily need. And I think, the scientific consensus has established already that we can be perfectly happy and healthy without consuming the products of this violence. Would you say that this is something that you've consciously thought about before and actively decided to participate in, or would you say that it's more something that you might be one of the people who's kind of avoided thinking about it because you might have to change if you did?
I don't think necessarily from the aspect that I would have to change my ways or my eating habits. I think, like a lot of people, we get caught up in our day-to-day lives, our jobs. I work in healthcare. My wife works in healthcare. We do travel contracts, and we're always on the move. And as much as we don't want to admit it, it's like something's not even like on the back burner of our thoughts. It's just that it doesn't even exist until somebody starts a conversation. So no, I don't feel like I think about it that often.
Great. Well, do you think that there'd be anything holding you back? For most people, it's like taste pleasure. That's the big one that people actually don't want to even admit to themselves.
Yeah.
And then there's other considerations that maybe make it difficult for people who actually believe in the moral impetus, but maybe try and fail, like convenience or just habits. But I know that you gotta join your folks. So I don't want to keep you too long, but let me go ahead and give you some materials, if I may. And it's something that you can look into more. So I appreciate your stopping. Let me go ahead and hand you this. So this just has some more information. This is from a place called Vegan Outreach.
Okay.
And that's just what I'm doing here. I'm just doing vegan outreach. So I'm trying to get people to challenge the idea of speciesism, which is basically the idea that some lives are worth more than others based on what species they belong to. Case in point, in the U.S., it's illegal to trade dog and cat meat. But, we completely legally sanction cows, pigs, turkeys, chickens, slaughter.
Yeah.
Are you visiting here, by the way?
Well, technically living until our contract ends in late August. Before we're here, we're in Cincinnati. Before that, Indianapolis. So we've been all over the place.
Oh, right on.
But it's one of those things like back home in Paducah, Kentucky, where I'm from.
Okay, I thought I heard a little bit of a southern.
Yeah. I try to hide it.
No, it's all good. My girlfriend's from Alabama. So.
Okay, there you go. Well, in Paducah, I forget the name of the company, but we do have a company that's a plant-based food service company, and I have never taken time to eat there. I got a friend who works there, and she's encouraged me to go eat there, but I don't know. You make excuses. There's always a million excuses not to do something.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with trying to convince like the mass public to have this conversation and think about changing their eating habits. If I'm being honest, I don't see it ever happening, because you're going to get those people who are like, you can't change me, you're taking away my freedoms, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
And they're going to fight back, or not do this, especially.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen videos of people calling the initiatives for people to legally be mandated to wear seatbelts. We've seen people saying, if this isn't communism, I don't know what is. Back in the day, I think it always seems impossible until we do it.
Well, I mean, it's not impossible, because I remember a time. I remember growing up going to restaurants, and you would, we have a party of 6, and they would ask you smoking or non-smoking. I can't remember the last restaurant or establishment I've been in where you're allowed to smoke anymore. So I mean, it can be done. It's just are people willing to do it?
Yeah, willing. That's the whole thing. Willingness, the willingness to do something for someone who could never repay you,
Yeah.
even if they wanted to, they couldn't
Yeah.
repay you. And in a lot of the case, by going vegan, you're just removing yourself from the equation. So it's just a non-action. You're not actually saving anybody. You're kind of preventing future Holocaust victims, basically.
I mean, so at the end of the day, some days that's the most an individual can do is I can do my part. I can't worry about what everybody else is contributing
Exactly.
to.
Yep.
So it's unfortunate, but it's the world or the America we live in.
Yep. Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate your stopping by.
No problem.
And hope you have a great time at Navy Pier. And thanks for coming. Thanks for coming by here.
Yeah, good content, man.
Thank you. And hey, if you want to subscribe to my channel or check it out and check out the this talk and stuff, it's Haz, so it's my name, and then just vegan, Haz vegan, HAZ.
HAZ.
Yep.
Haz vegan.
Yep.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. All right. So yeah, that was a good conversation, Lewis. And he seemed just really friendly and really honest. And he said that it's not something that a lot of people think about. And sometimes, that's all there is to it. All right, let's keep going. Let me just grab a quick sip of water first, real quick. It is a hot day. It's good to stay hydrated.
How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
What are you got going?
Oh, I'm just doing a live stream for my YouTube channel.
I'm sorry?
I'm just doing a live stream. This is live on YouTube right now. I'm just doing a.
We
video
don't
for the
allow it.
channel.
It's private property. You have to get clearance through our department up front. Up
This
here.
is private property.
All of this is private property.
Can you tell me? I'm happy to move. Can you tell me the margins of that property?
The other side of Streeter, okay?
Street. Okay.
That street right there.
Yep.
The other side of the Butterfly,
Okay.
and we go all the way to the water over there.
Okay. All the way to the water. So
Yeah, behind that, there's another park.
okay,
There's
that's all
live
private
staging.
property too.
That's all private property.
Okay. So as long as if I'm on the other side of there, for
If
example,
you
or
head over to Olive Park,
Mhm.
that belongs to the city. That's,
Okay, I appreciate the information.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, we're gonna have to move. So, I don't think I'll go through the trouble of getting a permit. That sounds like a lot of work. But I guess now we know. And, in the words of Kindness Town, when you know better, you do better. So now I know better. And I'm going to try to see if I can just move this whole setup without having to end the stream or tear things down. So this whole setup took a long time to set up. So bear with me here. I've got this mic in my hand that I'm gonna maybe try to carry at the same time as this stuff. So I'll just take you guys on a little field trip. How does that sound? I'm gonna try to go to the closest possible place that I can. It sucks because this is a really high traffic area. So I'm gonna try to just catch this stream of people. Actually, just before or just outside of where is private property. So bear with me here. Going on a field trip. Going on a field trip. I do apologize for the camera shaking. My hands are pretty tied up right now.
Pick up the park.
Yeah, I'll probably just go over there because I see more people there. I'm doing a social experiment to talk to people, so I just want to be able to go where people are.
Sorry?
We're getting escorted here. So he said the other side of this street. So hope you guys are still there. All the equipment seems fine. Okay. All right. So This guy is kind of, he's making sure I don't stay inside the margins here, but it's all good. He's just doing his job. I'm just doing my job of activism. Got a little nightclub sounding scene here, so we'll make it work. Thank you guys for sticking around here. All right, here we go. Crossing the street. All right, found a nice little spot here. Okay, I think this will work. Whew, that was a little arm workout there. Okay, people are still here. That's great to see. This is Chicago, Jordy. Okay, so, oh shit, I'm still recording on my main camera. Might want to stop that. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going here. There's still a whole bunch of people walking by, so I'm not concerned about the effect on the people stopping by. Yeah, folding chair, real thing. That would have been nice. I'm trying to get my bearings here. Just let me see how much space I have to be in the sidewalk and still be in the frame. Okay, I think that's good still. I think this is just a little high. Try to lower that one. The other camera is perfect. Okay, very good. All right, I'm gonna get my sign back out and just keep going. Foot traffic is a little bit less here because some people come. That other street kind of forks. It's like if the street was a fork, that is more the handle of the fork. So a couple of different avenues lead into that. I'm more on just one of the prongs right now, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. We got our sign. And let's keep going. This is kind of facing like a road. So I'm like facing kind of cars right now, which isn't the most strategically best idea. There's not that much traffic here, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. A monk is walking by. The other spot was definitely a lot better. I'm a little bummed about that, TBH. It was just great because I was catching people right as they were leaving a place with a lot of like attractions. So it was kind of a good thing to kind of like give them one more thing to participate in. Whereas here they're kind of out on the city streets more. You guys want to try? It's a social experiment. It'll take just like 7 minutes. That's the mystery. You want to try? They're saying let's do it. Okay, so we're live on YouTube right now, and do you want to try the experiment?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Let me just hit record here. All right, so let me put this down too. So, what's your name?
Trayvon.
Javon. I'm Haz. It's nice to meet you. Do you guys want to participate also?
Not me.
Okay, no worries. He doesn't mind an audience, right?
No, go ahead.
All right, so in this experiment, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you might have to think a little bit differently, but it'll all make sense in the end. So I'm wondering what you think about oppression. Like how you define oppression?
Oppression?
Yeah. Oh, butterfly just went on you. That's good luck.
I don't know. Oppression? How would you define oppression?
All right, he's asking the audience. It's like a game show.
How would you define oppression? He's asking what does it mean?
So oppression could be thought of as like, someone using their power basically in a way over someone, in a way that hurts them, in a way that harms
That
them.
could be very, very bad. How to define this shit? Abusive.
Yeah. Do you think that if the oppressor is like stronger than the one that they're oppressing, does that make it okay to oppress in that case, or is it still
No,
wrong?
it's like bullying.
Yeah, it's bullying, exactly. What would you think though if the victim of the oppression doesn't know that they're being oppressed? Like if they're not aware of how much better things could be for them, and they're just kind of existing under the oppression, does that make it okay?
You gotta
still?
get outside. You gotta get
Yeah.
outside where we at. Come on.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
outside.
So let me ask you. I'll kind of cut to the chase here. Are you aware of the practices in the animal agriculture industry, like for things like meat, eggs, and dairy?
Like they kill animals.
Yeah, killing them and also enslaving them and exploiting them. Do you think that in that case, when we consider that those beings are victims of a kind of oppression?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what do you think we can do about it if we think that oppression is wrong and that they are victims of oppression? What would be a solution to that we could kind of enact in our day-to-day lives?
Shut that shit down.
Yeah, shut it down.
Shut that shit down.
Bingo. And what do you think you can do to help shut that shit down?
Pass the word around. Get the word out.
Yeah.
Visualize it for people so they see it for what it's worth. Because I've seen a little bit. Videos of people going around and doing different shit. So I haven't seen a little bit. So just get the word out. Pass the word around.
Yeah. And have you ever happened to see slaughterhouse footage?
Yeah.
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 How do you feel when you see it?
Disagree with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just unnecessary harm. And have you ever heard of veganism? What are your thoughts on it?
I don't have no. That's like when motherfuckers don't eat meat.
Anything from an animal. So we wouldn't eat. So I've been vegan for about 12 years. So I haven't eaten animal flesh, cheese, eggs, honey, all that stuff.
There ain't nothing wrong with it because you're trying to keep your body healthy.
Not just keeping your body healthy, but
It's also saving the animals from not getting killed.
yeah.
So if you don't eat the meat, then
So it's supply and demand, right?
Right.
If you don't ask for it, then they produce less.
right, there
Yeah.
you go.
So do you think that would be something that would align with your values to refrain from paying into that system?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear. Let me give you some more information, and then you can read about it and make a decision. So here's a flyer for you. And do you have any questions about veganism when you think about it? Like, does it seem like something that would be really hard for you to do, or does it seem like you'd still be able to live in a way where you could be healthy and happy? And
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with it.
with veganism?
No, there's nothing wrong.
That's
with
awesome. Well, thanks so much. Was it Shavon?
it. Trayvon.
Trayvon. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Thanks for stopping. And if you guys want to check out my channel, it's on YouTube. It's called Haz Vegan. It's just Haz. That's my name, and then vegan.
Gotcha. I'd most definitely check you out, boss.
Thank you guys for stopping. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, guys. That was great. Yeah, he had some really amazing answers. And he said, shut that shit down. That was pretty epic. So let me go ahead and stop the other camera here. We're doing double duty here with two different recorders. And let me go ahead and get my sign out because there's a big group of people coming and I'm not going to be as spoiled for choice here, unfortunately. So let's keep going. I think the key is to adopt a little bit of like a little smirky smile, but not too smirky. You guys want to try? I think it's also good to kind of challenge people to try when other people are walking around them because they don't want to seem like they're kind of like they don't want to be they want to like show people that they're fun around them. So I think that's helpful psychology too. I'm really bummed that I had to get moved from that other spot though. That other spot was really good. Maybe I'll find a different spot, but this isn't too bad. You should probably specify you aren't religious. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Um, we'll see. Thanks for being here, Kara. I do appreciate it. Thanks to everybody else for being here. You want to try? So I wait for people to read it, and then when they read it, they kind of talk about it to each other, and then as they're considering it, I pop the question. I think I'm having to be just a teensy bit more aggressive here, just because there's kind of a little bit less hopping of a vibe here, but it's not so bad. There's some people on this. There's a bus right across from me. I could try outreaching them for the 2 seconds that they're on this convertible bus. The pickings are definitely slimmer here. That is a given. But I think it's the best option I have right now, given the surrounding streets. Honestly, all things considered, I mean, I've been that cube of truths before, where I've only talked to 2 or 3 people over the course of like 3 hours. So, it's all good here. You guys want to try? I'm not religious. It doesn't cost anything. I'm not going to ask you for anything other than just your thoughts on something. Yeah, and it is live on YouTube, just so you know. So I'll go ahead and record here. So if you guys want to come into the frame, are you the only person who's participating? Don't put her out like that. Come on. Okay. So I'm asking people their thoughts on a topic that may not seem very relevant at first, but then as I kind of ask more questions, it might start to make a little bit more sense what I'm talking about here. This is just a social experiment that's going to make you maybe think a little bit differently than you might be used to thinking, and kind of take a little bit different of a perspective. So my first question is what you guys think about oppression in general. Like, do you see that as a positive thing or a negative thing?
Negative.
So you can be the spokesperson for the group.
I personally feel is negative.
Yeah. And would you see oppression as something that, we can all maybe define it a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, it's someone getting some conditions imposed upon them from the outside. It's not something that they're organically choosing to have take place in their life.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So do you think that if you were to confront an oppressor and try to get them to change their ways, and they told you that they're just so much more powerful than the beings that they're oppressing, that it's therefore okay to continue doing what they're doing? Like, do you think that a power differential being greater makes it justified?
No, I do not think that makes it justified, but that is the idea of like racism, of being like a person because you have more power.
That's certainly, that's a salient example. What do you think if the oppressor says that the victim of the oppression doesn't know that they're being oppressed? So in other words, they don't have the intellectual capacity to even know that there is a better world out there, and that their oppression is something that they're even experiencing.
I don't think that means you should still do it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. What if I agree. What if the oppressor just really wants to do it? Like they say, they just really get a lot of pleasure from oppressing in whatever form.
Find something else to do.
Yeah. And do you think that if the oppressed victim looks different, whether it's like a size, shape, color, would that make it okay if they say they belong to that group of individuals who are a different shape, are a different color, are a different size than me, would that make it okay?
No.
Yeah. Great. So given all these answers, I basically have determined that you're against oppression in a lot of different scenarios, that whether the victim is less intellectually capable, if they look different for whatever reason, and if they're not powerful, they don't have the ability to remove themselves from the oppression, you're still against it in all those cases. So that sounds like a really consistent anti-oppression mentality, and I applaud you for that. I'm wondering, in light of that, how you feel about the animals that we force into slaughterhouses.
I honestly think it's the same thing. Like, we shouldn't do it, but it's like so. That's like you were saying earlier. It's so normal now that everyone does it, but it should not happen. I agree.
That's amazing. And can you think of a way that you can live where you reject the species-based commodification of animal life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm slowly getting into it. I know my mother is newly vegan, so we're trying to get there, but it's just hard to change. But you got to do it.
Yeah, I think we're all raised from, as children, being taught, for example, that the turkey is the animal that goes on the table at Thanksgiving, but the dog is the one that runs around and gets little scraps of their cadaver, basically. You know what I mean? Like, but we don't question it, and we flavor it with all these spices and seasonings, which all of which are vegan, by the way, for the most part, right? Like all the herbs and things like that. And then we just don't question it. We get calloused into it. It's reinforced by our environment. We see billboards, advertisements, things like that. I don't intend to sit and like preach about it here. I'm just saying that like I can relate to a perspective where you might not have thought about it, or you might have some resistance, kind of pushing the borders of this society that tells you that you have to walk in this straight narrow line of following these orders of turning other animals into our property, basically.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your stopping, and I'd like to just give you guys some information if I can, and then I'll just send you guys on your merry way here. So here's a few leaflets. You can hand them out to your friends and stuff. And I appreciate you guys stopping again. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Thank you guys for stopping. Cool. That was pretty cool. Glad to see some other faces here. Alex, great to see you here. Yeah, she was really good at understanding the arguments. I've had like 3 people who are really receptive. Everyone who I talked to today has been very receptive. So that's really good to see. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna get some water first. This is water fortified with minerals and amino acids. And let's check the battery here. It's 59%. Let me go ahead and stop the other recording as well. I haven't gotten used to having 2 cameras recording yet. Right, so we got to give people a little bit of a chance to read it in advance. I was about to ask those guys, but it was a little too late. But water had to be drank. Decisions had to be made. And thanks everybody in the chat for being here. Good to see you. Hey, how's it going? You want to try? Yeah. All right, great. Just so you know, I am live on YouTube right now. Yeah. And I'm just going ahead and recording the conversation. If you could just get in the frame with me, awesome. So I'm Haas. What's your name?
My name is Brian.
Nice to meet you, Brian. Is that Brian with a Y?
Brian with an I.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask you kind of a series of questions that is maybe going to stretch your mind a little bit, kind of get you thinking a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And the idea is just to give you a different way of thinking. I'm not like a religious person, and I'm not asking for anything at all. I'm not going to ask you for any money or anything like that. Just your open and honest thoughts is all I ask for. Okay. So my question is what you think about oppression.
I feel like it's wrong. Like, you don't want to oppress people. You don't want to put nobody in things that they shouldn't want to be in, or like their own opinion, or some people. I don't think nobody agreed to it, and I don't think nobody should be labeled or get into them type of things. You should not try to put me into something I don't want to do.
That's a really, really wise answer. You said nobody gets into it. In other words, like nobody wants to be oppressed, right?
Yeah,
it's always something that's imposed from it's not, it's from another being, right? It's from another person, basically. And other animals aren't capable of oppressing us, right? So it's always humans that are oppressing us. It's not from the ocean, from the sky, from the rocks, right? It's always another person, another humans, more specifically. That's awesome. What would you say if the oppressor, though, in some scenarios, said they really want to oppress? Would that make it more justified if they just got a lot of pleasure from whatever they were doing?
It ain't never justifiable.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion. No, they don't get no justifiability for saying that they want to really oppress, because it's like you trying to do something that's going against everybody else's will. Of don't nobody want to be oppressed.
Right. What would you say if the oppressor said, though, that their victim doesn't know that they're being oppressed? In other words, if they're intellectually in such a situation where it's happening and the oppressor is benefiting, they're getting pleasure from it, or whatever they're getting from it, they're making maybe money off of it, but their victim is portrayed as being so intellectually inferior that it's okay to do what they're doing.
You're giving them misguided information, so you still being wrong. That's like playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. What would you say if the oppressor said that their victim looks different to them, like they're a different size, shape, color, something like that, where they said they're not part of my group, they're part of this group that is like a different size, shape, color, something like that?
Still wrong.
Still wrong. Yeah, I completely agree, Brian. So all these questions, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier when I talked about the human versus other animals thing, but basically my question is how you feel about the animals that we as humans force into slaughterhouses to die for, trivial purposes like taste or meals that we don't really need.
I feel like it's still wrong, even when it comes down to animals. But I feel like we didn't create the thing of we got to eat. That started from like caveman times. They seen that this was a meal that supplies us with protein, even though they got protein shakes, they got protein bars.
They didn't back then, though.
Yeah, back then they didn't have it. So that's what I was saying. Like even from back then, they seen like, oh, you can eat this. We're gonna kill this animal. We're gonna eat it, and then you're gonna be good for your body. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I feel like me personally, I feel like it's wrong. Well, I feel like I stopped eating meat and things. I don't know. I feel like I've been kind of like brainwashed into like I gotta eat meat. And I know that's a bad thing to say, but in all reality, it's like I was born eating meat from my parents and from their parents and their parents. It's a brainwash thing. I still feel like it's wrong. I can go vegetarian, but it's like I've been eating meat my whole life. It's like kind of hard to stop. I done stopped multiple times, and then I just so happen always end back up doing it.
Yeah. Before we get to the how and that kind of thing, I want to touch on what you said about the caveman, because they did get nutrition from killing animals at that time, but it was kind of something that they had to do at that time, right? Because if it was winter and there was famine, or they didn't have the ability to grow crops at that time, they didn't have the ability to go to the grocery store, that's what they had to do to survive. But in our case, so it sounds like, you said you do think it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is, in that case, it's kind of like a necessary evil. And an interesting question that I've heard before is, if something is a necessary evil and then it no longer becomes necessary, what do we have left? If it's not necessary anymore, it's just, what is it?
Still evil.
It's just evil. Just
plain evil.
Yep. You got it. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just plain evil. Yeah.
So what do you think you can do if you think that there's something that you're participating in your life? What would it take for you to align your actions with your values?
Me personally, you can try to stop things, you can try to change things, you try to maneuver in different ways that benefits not just you, but the world and the population of everything and everybody. You can try to like rearrange your thought process from when you was a kid to your own mindset as an adult.
Yeah, to unlearn, basically.
Yeah, it's unlearning, relearning, saying? Things that you was taught as a child. That's really your only option.
Yeah. Yeah, and to that end, let me give you a flyer here. So I've got some information here. And have you ever happened to see slaughterhouse footage before?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have some on an iPad in case you'd want to just witness the standard practices.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I worked in one before.
Oh, you worked in a slaughterhouse. Wow.
Yeah, Cargill in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I quit. It was devastating. I quit after like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was too much for my liking. It stopped me from eating meat for a while also too.
Wow. If you don't mind me asking, were you on the kill floor?
Yeah, I was on the kill floor. Yeah, I was like the one who shot him in the head. Um, I tried to do it as long as my stomach can manage, but it didn't last long. So it stopped me from eating meat for a while, and then I did eventually end up going back. But that was like I said, I was raised that way.
Yeah.
But I
Well, maybe this
I'll never
conversation
do
will
it
be.
again.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe this conversation will be what it takes to get you thinking about it again.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. I don't want to keep you from your day, but
That's
anymore.
all right.
But thank you for stopping by. And
Appreciate you, man.
of course, and if you want to check out this channel, it's called Haz Vegan. That's my name, Haz Haz, and then just the word vegan on YouTube.
Haz Vegan.
Yep.
HA what?
Haz.
HAZ Vegan.
Yep.
Thank you, bro.
Yep. Thanks again. All right. Take care. Have a good one, guys. That's a beautiful conversation. That was a beautiful conversation. I almost want to stop now because I've had like 4 beautiful conversations in a row, and no one has said plants feel pain. No one has said that it's necessary to eat animals. It's just been a beautiful um, sequence. Sorry, that word took me a while to come to. It's been a beautiful sequence of conversations. My goodness. Yeah, crop deaths. Thanks, Carrie. I haven't heard any of that stuff today. Let's keep going. Let's see. I've still got over half my battery left. It's a beautiful day out. Let's just keep going. Let us keep going. Let the show go on. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm just trying to kind of keep the conversations a little bit shorter this time. I know that I'm not so spoiled for choice here, but I do want to still try to reach as many people as I can because of this format not making it explicitly clear that it's about animals. Not that I think that would particularly even make a difference. It might even cause people to be averse to it. I don't know anymore. I don't know if it's good to show slaughterhouse footage, like just to the public. I don't know anymore. But I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah, Lewis, we're going for 5 out of 5 exactly. And thanks, Felix, for being here. I appreciate your guys sharing in the conversations here. I hope that all the audio and video and stuff is decently fidelitas. I don't know if that's a word, but I hope the quality is okay. And all these conversations hopefully are going to make it onto a longer video. So let's keep going here. It is a beautiful day. All right, I've got to reset my mind. I'm just like, I've got a little bit of anxiety, honestly, because I'm like, the next person is just going to be like, crop deaths, plants feel pain, you've got to eat animals for protein. And no, stay positive, Haas. Stay positive. Tell yourself a mantra. What's a good mantra? Om Namah Shivaya. Hi. You want to try? It's a mystery.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go ahead and put this down here. And this is live on YouTube, just so you know, if that's okay. All right, great.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and record it. If we could just make sure that we're kind of all in the frame here.
Yeah.
There's a frame there and then a frame there. So
Okay.
this top one. Okay, I'll just kind of be here, and I guess that'll work. Okay, so thank you guys for participating. My name's Haz. This will only take a few minutes. I'm not religious. I'm not trying to sell you anything or ask you for anything other than your honest opinions.
Okay.
I am going to ask you questions that may kind of bend your way of thinking a little bit, not in a warped kind of sense, but just maybe test the limits of your ability to think a little bit flexibly. Okay, great. And I appreciate you guys participating.
Are you comfortable participating?
I'm anxious.
No reason to be anxious.
No, I mean in a good way.
That's good. Excited, maybe.
Yes.
Sure.
Fear is excitement minus the breath.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, so my questions are about oppression. So I'm wondering what you guys think about oppression in general. And maybe I can kind of just ask you guys one at a time, or just kind of maybe just get a general sense if you want to speak for them.
I can't speak for them for sure.
Or not like speak for them, but
Yeah.
like, if you want to What do you guys think about oppression? I guess.
I mean,
Maybe
I'm definitely against it.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you agree that oppression is something that's imposed on beings basically from an outside source?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not something innate to them.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
It
yeah.
comes from a place of fear.
Yeah. That's a whole deeper analysis that's maybe beyond the level of where I quite am yet. But would you also agree that it doesn't come from like the earth? It doesn't come from the wind, the sand, the sun, the sky.
Okay, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, it
Social
comes.
oppression, or I mean, because definitely weather can create oppression.
Yeah, it
in
can
a
seem
group of
oppressive.
People.
Fair,
yeah.
fair point.
The
Fair
weather can
point.
be oppressive,
Yes.
but it doesn't pick anybody in particular to
Correct.
oppress.
Yeah. Social oppression, I guess.
Yeah.
So, would you say that if there was an oppressor in a scenario where they said that their oppression should continue, like the oppression that they're enacting should continue because the victim of the oppression is of a lower intellectual caliber than them to such a sufficient degree that the oppressor doesn't even get recognized as committing oppression? Do you think that that would make it okay?
I don't think there's ever time anything makes it okay.
No.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like I can say no.
What if they said that they really get a lot of pleasure out of it? Like whatever they're doing, they just really, really derive a lot of
That's
joy.
sick. No.
That's sick.
Sick. Yeah. I agree. What would you think if the oppressor said that the victim of the oppression looks different to them? So they're a different size, shape, color. They're part of a different group. Like they basically label them as outsiders and
Doesn't make
call
it right.
them.
Does not make it right.
Still, yeah. Yep. I agree completely on all these counts. So it sounds like so far you guys have a pretty consistent viewpoint against oppression. A mentality that no matter what, whether the oppressed being looks different, if they're intellectually inferior, or if they're not able to kind of free themselves from that oppression, or if they are not aware of the oppression taking place, or even if the oppressor is getting so much joy from it that they somehow are able to justify it, at least to themselves, that there's some kind of net positive value to it, it's still wrong across the board.
That
Right?
would make the oppressor intellectually inferior.
Maybe in a way, yeah. If you consider empathy to be a form of intelligence, yeah,
Yeah. Sure.
yeah.
Are you listening to this? A little bit. Yeah.
So my next question, and this is kind of maybe where it might get a little bit kind of controversial in your mind, is
Sure.
what you think about the animals who are forced into slaughterhouses for unnecessary foods.
What do you think about that? Do we eat animals in our house? We don't, do we? No.
You don't eat animals?
No.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
none of you guys
They do.
you do?
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you think that let me, I guess, ask you first. Do you think that that is a form of oppression?
For sure.
What's being done?
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course it is. They're living things just like everything else.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like I grew up eating animals and animal products
And loving it, right?
Absolutely.
We all did.
I
Yeah.
didn't say it didn't taste good. I
Yeah.
said that I just made a choice at some
It's
point.
culturally what we did.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, probably how old are you? 7?
Gonna be
Probably 8. Yeah, probably 8 years ago. My husband and I were kind of looking for. It started out for health, just like a healthier way to live.
Yeah.
And that made the most sense. But then we kind of went a little bit further, and I was like, oh wait, this is really bad. Let's try not to participate in that as much as we can. I mean, there's things that I don't consciously buy leather, but like I'm not throwing out leather in my home, you know. But yeah, we do our best.
Yeah, and some people approach it from a perspective of not wanting to view animals as resources at all, and will
Right.
end up throwing away old
Sure.
animal-based things that they had, whereas other people will say that they're not increasing any demand after that point
Yeah.
once they make that commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
I'm like, I am a human being who is just trying to do their best, and I at times have been more not militant, but just more concerned strict about every single thing that went in my mouth. After having kids, I've had to make a little bit of flexible decisions, but as far as our house is concerned, we keep our house vegan.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just about to ask what you thought about things like dairy or honey and things like that.
You know, honey's gross. I mean, it's bee vomit, so it's not something that I'm really interested in eating anyway.
And we're streaming for a vegan audience here.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Uh,
Hi.
So yeah, they're totally on board.
Yeah.
I think we're maybe not quite in this frame, but it's all good.
So like I said, I have at times been more strict if my dairy, they're going to eat the cupcakes made with dairy. I'm not trying to.
That cow already gave the milk.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, she makes her own decisions and very often says no, thank you.
She does a lot.
And we've raised them to I have a son at home. Raised them to understand the ethical implications of using animals for food. But also, I don't want my kids to have food issues. So I'm trying not to like label good food and bad food. Just as kind of this is our morals and our values.
Yeah.
This is how we eat. You're going to go to your friend's house. They're going to have something else. I'm not expecting you can say no, and I will pack you something to bring. But if
you want her to have that choice,
I want her to have that choice.
Yeah.
It's her choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what you think about this conversation so far.
Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts, and
Yeah. Let us know what they are.
well, again, animals are delicious. I'll be frank about it. We don't choose to go vegan. We support their vegan lifestyle.
I will say
My wife is a baker and a cook, and can make vegan food taste just like regular food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. But as far as oppression, that was the source of the topic of conversation. I don't see it as oppression against animals. I'll get back to your base. No, I don't see it as oppression to animals.
How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Yeah, it's just my gut. About when I think of oppression, I think we have a broader, no, maybe a more narrow sense of the oppression we need to work on, and that perhaps the animals are a little bit outside that realm. We still treat human beings horribly. We're not eating them, but we're really treating human beings horribly. I think that's where my focus would prefer to be.
Do you think that considering that veganism is basically a non-action, that you're basically ceasing your participation in one type of oppression, that you could still do everything that you
I have
do?
a lot of oppression I need to work on.
Okay.
That was down the line. To be honest, I'm not perfect. I got a lot of things I need to work on, and I think the animals are a little bit lower than the human beings. I need to be better too.
I appreciate your candor. Would you say that you would at least resolve at some point to make a change where you are considering the lives and the experiences of other animals?
I'm open to that.
That's beautiful. Okay, great. Well, let me. I've already kept you guys for several minutes, so
We're
let me.
headed to the American Girl store, so
Yeah.
it's somebody's birthday.
That's great. So let me just give you guys some information, if I may, and you can continue to learn about it. I'll give it to you. And
My granddaughter just asked me to actually make a change.
oh, that's beautiful.
Oh,
That's great. Maybe
that's really sweet.
we've got a really maybe future compassionate leader here. So.
She is.
Oh,
Oh yeah. She's my little vegan princess, is what she is. I love her.
and we love the doggies and the kitties and the chicks. So
Just beware, there is some disturbing imagery in there, just so you know.
Yeah,
Not for her.
we'll keep
Not for
that
you.
out. No, come on, let's go.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you guys for stopping.
Thank you very
Good luck
much.
today.
Have a
All
great day.
Yep, thank
That
you guys.
was
And if you
fun.
guys want to look at this on YouTube, my channel is called Haz. That's my name, H-A-Z, and then
Okay.
vegan, Haz Vegan.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks so much.
thank you guys. Bye-bye
Have a
now.
good one.
You too. All right. Yeah, that was a great conversation too. Sorry for the camera shaking here. I know that we were a little bit out of the frame. The my main camera up here did capture a little bit more of it. Let me see. Yeah, I think I was kind of in front of. I was between her and the camera for a little bit of it, but we'll still use it. I think it's still usable. All right. I'm getting a little tired, but I've still got some juice left in me. Okay, let's keep going. Let me go ahead and stop this recording. Okay, I'm gonna be editing some video later. I have to say, the people who stop by, credit to them for being willing to stop and just participate in something with a stranger, and they have no idea, what it's about, what they're getting into. There's definitely something to be said for that. Make sure the sign's right side up. Yep. I think I'll probably keep going for, let's see what the battery's at here. It's at 39. Yeah, I'll probably just stay out here for a little while. I see people reading from cars. And they're like, man, I'm never gonna know. I can't stop even if I want to. I'm never gonna know. But you know, that's kind of the beauty of life. There's many unknowns in life, right? And we just kind of sometimes go with the best information that we have at any time. And you know, in this case, I'm not really giving any information. It just says participate in a social experiment. So we'll see here. The sidewalk's looking a little bit more sparsely populated. It might be a minute or two before someone comes by. This would be a good time for anyone watching if you want to, you know, take a drink of water or something like that. Maybe use the facilities if you need to. It might be a couple minutes here. Maybe not. I see some people come in. I don't feel that any of them will stop, but maybe that's a misguided intuition. Let's see here. See, people from a bus are looking. You guys want to try? I'm not religious or anything. I got a laugh out of them at least. This is actually a really good time to be out here doing this because it's close to lunchtime. Maybe it's a little bit afterwards, but yeah, Jordy, I think that was Carrie who recommended that, to say that I'm not religious, because I think, yeah, she said, you know, she would assume that, or yeah, if somebody just was stopping them on the street. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I'm kind of running low on leaflets, I think. I'm glad I grabbed some extra ones. I haven't shown anybody. No, I have several. I have probably 5 or 6. We'll see. There's not a whole lot of people walking on the sidewalk. There's kind of a group coming about 60, 70 yards from here, and there's another group coming from my right. So we'll see. I'll stay out here. If I end up having to stand around too long, I'll just end up probably ending it, but we'll see. That was great that last lady said that honey is bee vomit. That was pretty awesome to hear. Gotta just stick it out a little more here, the waiting game. Maybe last time I said a mantra and then someone stopped by, so maybe I need to say another mantra. We got some people considering it. We got some turn backers, but not biters. What's a good mantra? Maybe I have all that I need. I am peace. I am not greed. No, too long. We'll see. You want to try? Okay, great. So just so you know, we are live on YouTube right now, and I'm also recording for my channel as well, like separately. So let's just make sure we're both in the frame here. Okay. So, what's your name?
Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. I'm Haz. And my YouTube channel is called Haz Vegan. It's just HAZ Vegan in case you want to check it out later. But basically, today I'm just asking people, I'm not asking for any money. I'm not going to ask you for anything other than just your honest opinions. And basically, the central point of my topic is about oppression. So, my question is regarding oppression, would you say that it's a bad thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And would you say that with oppression, it's always coming from an outside source to the one being oppressed?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree as well. And with the oppressed individual, and looking at their traits, would you say that if the oppressor determined that the oppressed victim is so inferior to them in terms of their intellectual caliber that they're not aware of the oppression, would that still make it wrong if the victim is not aware of the oppression?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Make it more wrong.
it'd make it more wrong. Yeah, I could see a case for that. What do you think if the oppressor said that they get a lot of pleasure from the oppression? So they just really, really like to do it, and they just derive so much value from it that any kind of enjoyment. Would that make it justified in that case?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, yeah, I agree as well. What if they said that the victim just like belongs to a different group, like they look different, they're a different size, shape, color, something like that, and therefore those individuals are deserving, or at least that it's permissible to subject them to that?
No, I don't think it is okay to subject anyone to oppression.
That's great. That's beautiful. I completely agree. And lastly, what do you think if the oppressed victim is in kind of a situation where they maybe just can't free themselves, or they don't have the power to free themselves, and the oppressor says that they're never going to be able to get out of the situation. So it doesn't matter that they're not going to really accomplish much if they get out of the situation anyway.
No, I would say do it anyway.
It's still wrong.
Yeah, it's still wrong. Oh, yeah, it's still wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's nothing that's going to make me say it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And can you think of any examples of a scenario that would involve oppression where people have used kind of similar justifications? It doesn't have to be a current one, but just maybe throughout the historical timeline of humankind.
Yes.
Would you care to share one?
Slavery.
Yeah, human slavery, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. So I'm wondering, like, based on, let me, I guess, summarize first. So it sounds like you have a pretty consistent view against oppression, whether the victim is less intellectually capable, whether they're less physically capable, whether they look different, like different size, shape, color,
Yeah.
whether they're unable to recognize that they're being oppressed. In other words, if they don't have the intellectual caliber to recognize that, or if the oppressor gets a lot of pleasure or joy from enacting that oppression. Sounds like you're against it in all instances where you have a pretty consistent view.
I think if somebody gets joy out of it, then they have something wrong with them, in that they should seek help.
Yeah, I mean, there's instances where you can think that somebody could do something where they would get joy out of it, and they'd be able to find substitutes maybe for creating a victim. Like they'd be able to, if they really enjoy, for example, like punching people or kicking people, for example, instead of kicking actual living beings, they can plaster something on a punching bag or something.
Take it out at the gym, yeah. Or join a boxing club, or anything like that.
Yeah, there's always alternatives.
Yes.
Great. So given
Your
these
energy somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. You can divert that energy. So given these things I've asked you, I'm going to tie it back around now. So I'm wondering how you feel about farmed animals. Do you consider them victims of a type of oppression at the hands of humans?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And is that something that you've looked into in the past? Is that a topic that you've allowed yourself to be exposed to in terms of the plight of those animals?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty aware of it. I don't eat a lot of meat. It's always, I haven't since I was a kid. I always just thought it was weird to eat animals. But, I mean, I do
eat meat sometimes. I wouldn't call myself a vegetarian or vegan, but yeah, I agree with that.
What do you think is weird about it? How did you arrive at the conclusion that it's a weird practice? Let's explore that a little bit if you're willing to.
Okay. I I just remember thinking it's weird that it was alive. I don't know, and it's like meat. It just was the same kind of thing as the Indian. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like they were
And
once living.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't even like I wasn't exposed to many farm animals, but I just thought, about cows and they're farm animals, and I don't know. I guess I'm thinking more about it now, but I've just never really liked the thought of eating meat.
You never
made
liked
me
the thought
feel
of it?
yeah, and it never made me feel. I don't think it's healthy either, for my body anyway.
Yeah. And when I ask these questions, I'm always trying to maintain a perspective of the victim. When people bring up the fact that it's not healthy to eat animals, for example, I do agree for the most part, but I think that someone can be healthy in spite of eating other animals. If they just eat small amounts, or if they eat the kinds that aren't maybe loaded with as many toxins or things like that. But in the case of the oppressor, for example, who's getting pleasure from what they're doing, we wouldn't really care, you know what I mean, if they when I say we wouldn't care, I mean, like, we wouldn't let them off the hook, so to speak, even if they were able to instantiate that oppression in a way that was less harmful to them. You know what I mean? If they wore boxing gloves before punching people instead of doing it barefisted and hurting their fists, for example.
Right.
Have you ever seen any footage of what happens in slaughterhouses?
Yes, I've seen.
How do you feel when you see it?
It's disgusting. Ugh. I don't even like to think about it. I was at a museum yesterday, and I saw a painting of raw meat, and I didn't even want to look at it. It's just, it's really sad. They're not treating them as a living things. It's super sad.
Yeah, I would say it's even an inconvenience to the industry that they're alive. Because they have to kill them. They can't just.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go.
Okay, can I give you some information?
Sure.
Just a little leaflet. Just a little brochure, just with more information. Sure. Great. I appreciate your being open-minded toward it. A lot of people don't want to think about it, and a lot of people know that if they thought about it, that they might have to change. So
I know.
But it can't ever be a bad change, because if it's more in line with your values, if your actions are put more into lockstep with the person that you believe you are, then you'll have less cognitive dissonance. It's where you either have to modify your behavior to change your or to match your morals, or you have to change your morals to match your actions.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you think that if the animals were treated better and bred better, but still had to feed the human race, do you ever think it's okay? Is it?
Well, I think that it's still an exploitative practice. My issue is with viewing other animals as resources. So another way to say that is that my issue is with seeing them as a means to an end instead of as ends in and of themselves. I believe that other animals are here with us, on this earth, and it's a beautiful celebration of life if we let it be, rather than being here for us. So I would encourage you to think about that perspective, just here with us, not for us.
Yeah.
See where that takes you.
Good one. Okay.
Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate
Right,
it. And if you want to check out my channel again, I think I let you know earlier, but it's Haz, H-A-Z, and then vegan, Haz Vegan.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for stopping. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. That was another great conversation. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Let's keep going. I'm just like, every time I have a conversation where people don't bring up things like plants feel pain or that kind of thing, it's just, I get more and more nervous that I'm that I'm gonna come across the one that just kind of like topples over. It's like we're building a cake. It's like we got all the beautiful layers, and I feel like somebody's just gonna like smash it with an axe at the end. But maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a positive day of outreach. In fact, my partner says a lot of times that if I start thinking negatively, then I'm manifesting those negative things. So let's just not. It's gonna be a great day. Let us just put our best foot forward and think positively. Be positive. That's my blood type. Be positive. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. And I really like that. Also, in that last conversation, Caitlin said that she brought up the idea of better treatment of animals as a question. She didn't pose it like a truth claim. She didn't say, well, if we do it humanely, it's fine. She actually went out of her way to ask what I would say about it in that scenario, and that was a beautiful way to kind of tie it back into the question tree, if you will. So, oh man, I'm getting a little tired though, but I've still got energy. I have energy. I am unstoppable. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. The next one is number 7. It'll be 7 out of 7. Lewis is keeping a tally here. I appreciate your being here, Lewis, and everyone else for being here. Hope you're having a good. I guess maybe it's Saturday for everybody. Maybe if you're in Australia, it's not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but let's keep going. I am getting a little bit tired, though, I have to say, but we'll keep going. I've still got I've still got a voice, and I can use it. I can use it for good. I'm getting a little better at snapping myself into that mindset of like resetting. It's not always easy. After you've had a conversation, you're kind of thinking about it, but it'll come with practice. There is a pedicab in front of me right now, so it might be a little difficult. Want to give it a try?
Sure.
Awesome.
How long is this going to take, though?
Maybe like 4 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
We are live on YouTube, just so you know. And we can just kind of be in the frame here. I'm going to go ahead and hit record up here. Oh, it was already recording. Okay, let's hit record again. Okay. And I am going to get a little battery warning in a minute here. But basically, I'm just doing a social experiment. I'm not asking for anything other than just your honest opinions.
Great.
And I'm not going to ask you for to convert to any kind of religion or anything like that either.
Cool. All right.
My name is Haz.
Nice to meet you.
And what's your name?
Tony.
Tony, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
What's
you.
your oh, you got 2 puppies here. I only
Yes.
saw the big one.
My big one is Lady, and then this is my mom's dog. I'm actually babysitting right now.
Oh, what's their name?
That's Mickey.
Mickey?
Yes.
Mickey and Lady.
You got it.
Lady looks like some kind of like, would she be a Siberian Husky?
She is a Siberian
Oh, she's
Husky.
beautiful. She is
knows
beautiful.
Too.
Okay, so basically what I'm asking you about is oppression. So
Okay.
that's the topic.
Lovely.
And I'm wondering, and I do appreciate your stopping, by the way.
Yeah.
Um,
You are stuck behind these cars, so I feel bad for you. No one's seeing you today.
I appreciate the compassion.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm wondering what you think about oppression in general, if you think it's like a positive thing or a negative thing.
I mean, the word depression in itself is very negative. I also come from a very oppressed state, so I will say it's a very negative situation. The question is, what will it do in the long term? If people are able to break out of that oppression, then it can turn positive. But the thing is, you'll never know. So that's my take on that part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Could you remind me your name again? I remember Lady and Mickey, but
I'm Tony.
Tony. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
My memory was able to keep 2 out of the 3.
No, it's all good. Everybody else always remembers the dog names, but they'll never remember that. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As you said, oppression kind of almost it carries a negative connotation with
Yes.
it. But we still see, and as you kind of alluded to, it still happens. Like, people still try to justify it.
Of course, everyone tries to justify everything just
Yeah.
to make it feel better that they're doing something wrong or something wrong is happening in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering kind of when it comes to oppression, if an oppressor used a justification and said that the beings that they're oppressing are so intellectually inferior to them that the oppression is not even perceived as oppression by the victims, would that make it okay in that sense?
No, because one is already putting their ego so high to putting someone into oppression. If they don't know that, now you're putting him in this state of, unquote ignorance, which is technically not ignorance because ignorance is willful almost. But this one is like
blinded.
They're blinded.
Yeah.
And would you rather keep people blind for your own gain? No, I think that's very wrong.
And I agree completely.
Yeah.
And most people have said similar to you in saying that it's even worse.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what you think about the oppressor being so much more powerful that they basically say they're stronger, kind of like a might makes right argument. Would you
Right.
agree that might makes right?
That might makes right.
Yes, like the oppressor is more powerful, and that the beings who would be freed from them, if they were to be freed, just wouldn't be able to accomplish anything anyway because they lack the strength, they lack the power and the fortitude and the caliber to get out of that situation.
So it's basically the same thing as what was before. You're just saying the higher the person, the less it is. What's that?
I think he just wanted to pet lady.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's still wrong. What would you say if the oppressor said that they just get a lot of joy from doing whatever they're doing? In other words, they derive so much pleasure from it that they kind of make this utilitarian argument that it's a net positive in their life, and that their pleasure, according to their moral system, outweighs any kind of consequence for anyone else. Would you say that it would be okay in that case?
No. When we keep using the word oppressor in any part of the argument, it's just going to be negative either way. So if you're going to say that oppressor, whatever he does already, it's not good. So even if you use any words post, you know what I'm saying? The already, again, like I said, has a negative connotation. So you're leading with that first.
Yes.
So anything that comes afterwards will never be positive.
Yes. Yeah. We do see examples of that though, right?
Yeah.
And especially like, another example that you may have seen is if the oppressor says that their victim looks different to them. So maybe they're a different size, shape, or color. And then, we see that with things like racism. We see that things with fat phobia.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Anything that makes a person different that's why we have all these isms in the world.
Yeah. And
because we have a tribalism problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree completely. Yeah. Given that you've answered these questions in a way that seems like you have a pretty view against oppression, whether the victim looks different, whether they're intellectually or physically inferior, and as I was saying, most or some people echoed your sentiments earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't been keeping exact statistics, but most people, they follow the same kind of train of thought. So what I'm wondering, given all of these questions, is how you feel about our relationship with farmed animals as humans, and if you consider those animals to be class, if you will.
It's only oppressed if you oppress them with no dignity. So let's say if we use like the Native American way of treating animals. They were part of their tribe, and yet it was a part of a circle of life. They ate them, and they used them, and they put them as whatever situations. So it really depends where you are in the world. People treat their animals with love. I've been to India. I'm not even Indian, and I went to India, and their animals are everywhere because they love animals. They're mostly vegetarians as well. So are they oppressed? No. But are they taken care of all the time? Not necessarily. So are they also being oppressed? These are all these questions you do have to ask as well. So it's a very depending situation. That's not, you can't make a general statement about that one. In the States, I have my levels. Are they here being oppressed? Probably not. Are the cows probably being oppressed? Probably yes. But then there are farms who are not doing that. So I can't put one general statement on such. Yeah.
I think it is definitely important to think about in which these animals are.
Yes.
When it comes to in like a forest, for example, like they're deep in the Amazon or something, and they don't have enough to eat unless they hunt, for example, or let's say they're up in like the Antarctica or something like that, or the North Pole or something like that, where they're not going to be able to grow vegetation. I think they would be able to make a justification.
Absolutely. Well, that's the only way they have to do it. It's not even a justification; it's survival.
Right. Yeah. Survival is the justification.
Right. And this is technically how we have gotten to where we've been now accustomed to whatever situations is survival. And now that we've grown past it and now our meat's being packaged, it's lost its flavor, because I think you hunting your own food it makes it better in a sense, because you know that a life has been slain, kind of thing. So like I'll give a nice context for this, because I went to a bar and they had a whole pig, right? And then you realize, you saw the head, you saw the tail, you saw these things, and you feel, okay, an animal has been slain. And you thank this animal for giving its life for your sustenance. and that's kind of the beauty of it. If you just come in a packaged little meal, you're not gonna know. People don't even know what chicken is sometimes. Like these little kids these days don't even know what chicken is. But yeah,
Yeah, I think, to your point,
Yes.
we're raised from an early age to think have you ever heard of speciesism? Like from a speciesist perspective, we value some species above others just from what species membership they have. So
yeah, it's how their relationship with you. Yeah, like you value these more.
Yeah.
But then if you go to places in Vietnam, they'll eat dog because it is a meat. Do I say no? Do I say it's a wrong thing to do? No, you got to eat what you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we grow up in the U.S., we are shown like a table of on Thanksgiving,
Yes.
families at the table. There's
Yes.
a turkey on the table.
Correct.
A dog running around the table. Do you think that in that case that those two beings value their lives differently, like value the experience of being alive in a significant enough way that that's a justifiable relationship if the family is in somewhere like Chicago where to choose something that causes less harm?
I think in general that I've seen the opposite. I've been to a place where turkeys were running around the table, and it just really depends on the relationship they have with these. There's people who have different animals as pets.
Sure.
Yeah. So can we say a thing like it? But we say majority. You're saying, do they appreciate them differently? I don't know. I feel like if whoever's at that table realizes that animal that's on the table has been again slain for their sustenance, then I think they're both respected in their own doubt. But if they don't, and it's just turkey, then no.
But I mean, from the perspective, what I was kind of asking, I apologize if I was unclear about that, but like from the perspective of the turkey or from the perspective of the dog or whoever is the animal.
The perspective of the animal itself.
Yes,
I don't know. I can't speak for the animal.
Sure. I mean, do you have any reason to arrive at a conclusion that a different species of animal values their life any than another?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you give an example?
The circle of life, the Serengeti, the savannah, where lions have to go eat other animals to make their life work.
Maybe I wasn't clear. So
what do you mean? What they say they value their life more than the other animal?
I'm talking about the individual.
The individual as a human.
The individual chicken, the individual turkey, the
Correct.
individual dog.
Yes.
When I say anyone, does anyone in terms of any one cow, any one turkey, chicken, fish, dog, pig, value their own life, any less than another? So do we have any reason to believe
Not
that?
any less, but any more? Yes.
I'm just struggling to understand. Like, so do you think that
like if I'm in the Africa Serengeti, I've seen a lion kill another animal and eat it for its enjoyment, and then it left it for the birds to also eat.
Sure, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like maybe I'm just not communicating this effectively. So, you want to live, right?
Yeah.
I want to live.
Correct.
Your dogs want to live.
Correct.
These people all want to live.
Correct.
If we see a bird flying in the sky, does any being, generally speaking, do you think any species any less than any other species? In other words, like
No.
yeah.
No. We all live in harmony kind of situation. Would be, yes.
Yeah, and I think when we look at there's a whole raging debate right now with vegans among vegans, talking about how predatory animals engaged in predation in the quote unquote wild are doing that. They should be culled and things like that. I don't subscribe to that personally.
Yeah. I think the fact that we're even throwing morals on animals is a horrible thing.
Yes, I completely agree.
It's actually
Based.
immoral.
That's a base take.
It's very immoral to throw morals.
Yes, I agree completely.
This is the problem with morality is your morals is keep it to yourself and you be the good person. And then people will recognize who you are as that person and mirror that off you instead of you throwing it at them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you're implying that I'm doing that in
No,
this case.
not at all.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No, you have yet to give any personal situations of who you are. So
I appreciate
you've been
that.
You've been pretty neutral. Keep going.
And I would say in the case of like I said, somebody in South America or somebody in a survival situation, whether a human or a lion in a survival situation, that they would have a good justification for like causing the death of another animal for their sustenance.
Absolutely.
Do you think that it's possible in a city like Chicago, for example, to be happy and healthy eating plants exclusively? And if so, do you think that that would be more in line with the kind of life that you want to live?
So eating plants exclusively, complete veganism. I come from the medical field, and if we're able to get this B12 problem done, but then you know what I'm saying, like there's a lot of things that vegetables don't completely always do, which you do need from also animal-based products. So I know that they're doing things to find the B12, which I find a little too far-fetched because I feel like it's already here. So why not just take it as is instead of trying to burrow through the ground? If you do things very whole foody, it should be fine. But now all these processed Beyond Meats and processed things that make things vegan, it's actually worse for you than most meats are.
It can be,
Yeah.
and certainly some vegan and eat a whole food plant-based diet
Yes.
and take a B12 supplement and get their levels checked.
But the fact that there's a supplement is a problem. That's what I'm trying to get at. The meat should be in your food.
So as
Yeah.
far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
with the animals who humans are eating for B12, I think
Yeah.
there's something like a 60% level of people, at least in the U.S., who are somewhat deficient in B12.
Yeah.
So I don't think people are meeting the amount of B12 that is sufficient already. And it's also the case
It
that
also depends on that's the problem with processed foods. So even the processed meat's gonna have a problem. Anything's processed, it's gonna be great.
yeah,
B12,
and I think you can be healthy in spite of eating animals, or you
Yeah.
can be unhealthy as a
Yeah.
person eating a vegan diet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I was getting at is that the animals that humans eat in many
Yeah.
cases are also supplemented with B12 as well. So it's added to their feed, which
Yes,
kind
that's
of
true.
it's kind of like a middleman.
But then again, if you go across the world, they don't do that. We're the United States is the only ones that likes to put extra shit in our food.
Yeah.
Everything is enriched, whatever. They put
Jinx.
more,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why half the people are gluten insensitive right now. It's because we're screwing our own people up.
Yeah, and I think sterilization of soil. I don't mean like people are literally sterilizing
yeah.
it, but that has a lot to do because I think B12 is actually it's produced by cobalt, I believe, from bacteria who turn it to
Correct.
cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin.
Correct.
And
Can you eat cobalt?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you can. Maybe some elemental
not.
trace amount, but
Yeah, probably not. It's like eating just lead.
I know our guts do produce it, but I think it's
Very little. Actually, no. What happens is you have an R binder that connects for your tongue, and then it connects from a pancreatic enzyme, and then that whole thing ends up. That's how B12 works. It's not necessarily. It doesn't produce it.
no, not stream, but more
Yeah.
like in the kind of like the rectum, for the lack of a better word. It's like my understanding is that it's too low. It's in the terminal large intestine, basically, where.
Interesting. I've never read that.
Yeah, I think a trivial amount of it is produced there, and
Yes.
it basically ends up in our fecal matter.
It
As far as
ends
I
up there,
understand,
but okay. So, but where
Yeah.
does it? The problem is, nothing gets absorbed there.
right.
So
Exactly.
what we're getting at is where does it get absorbed? So there's an R binder. They say, well, that's why they always have them under your tongue, right? That's why these supplements are under your tongue.
Sublingual,
Yeah. So because it attaches to this R binder, and then it goes in, and there's a pancreatic enzyme that attaches to that, and then releases it from that R binder, and then it's absorbed in one of your small intestines. But anyways,
So-
before we get into the whole B12 argument, but what else?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, I guess, with the idea that you can take a supplement.
Yes.
And besides B12, there might be some things that somebody would have to think about, like vitamin D, for example, if they
Yes.
don't get enough sunlight.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can get D3 from lichen or from
There's
mushrooms.
D3, there's D2, yes.
Well, yeah, D2 comes from yeast.
It comes from plant, yes.
yeah.
It's plant-based.
And
Yes.
I guess somebody might have to worry about DHA as well,
Yeah.
because the conversion from ALA and EPA is not always the best.
Yeah.
But even if you had to take a few supplements, maybe zinc might be a little bit low on a plant-based diet, but
Yeah.
the other stuff, mostly like the
Right.
amino acids,
Yeah.
carnosine, beta, those kind of things you can synthesize. Creatine you can synthesize.
Right. I don't like anything to be synthesized. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I mean, like
Yeah.
synthesize endogenously.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Yeah.
So, given that I guess, are you saying that if you have to take a supplement, then that would be a barrier that you would be unwilling to cross? You'd be unwilling to cross into the realm of unnatural, quote unquote, behavior.
Yes. Yeah. The fact that we have to supplement our diets with anything is a situation. If it comes naturally from the ground, naturally from the meats that we eat, or from the fish or whatever situations, then that's how it should be. Now, but the problem is we have come to a point where everything's now mass produced. Everything's kind of we screwed it up. Let's put it that way. Vegetarianism, I would fully 100% agree with. Veganism, no. Vegetarianism, yes.
How did you arrive at the conclusion that, I guess presumably we're speaking in terms of diet, right? So you're not talking about like the fur industry and the leather industry.
No, all of it. Well,
circuses.
all of it. That's the whole issue, right? Like, if you,
I'm trying to understand.
One, say, you kill that thing for the meat. The fur's got to go somewhere. The skin got to go somewhere else. Everything's reused. No one leaves anything anywhere.
How do you feel about something like a zoo, for example?
How do I feel about zoos? Well, I know some zoos, what they do is they take in animals that already were screwed up anyways and they put them in a zoo.
Like rehabilitation,
yes,
conservation.
Yes, that I agree with. Do I think it's a show? No, it shouldn't be. It's not a circus. It's not a show.
What do you think about a rodeo, for example? Maybe that's a better example. I guess I'm trying to see if there's any instance where you object to the use of animals on a moral basis because you believe that was what they're...
It really depends how they're treated. If they're treated horribly, then no. There's a lot of people who love their horses. And so the question is it bad? No. Are they impressed? Probably not. You know what I mean? An oppression means you feel like shit. Or the other person knows you're being treated like shit. There's someone treating you like shit from one side or the other.
But there can also be a scenario, as I alluded earlier, where the being isn't aware of how much better things could be in a way. You know, if they were free.
I think a being will always. What are you saying? Whatever their normal is.
Like, yeah, if they're.
But that happens with humans as well.
Sure.
Right. So I mean, like.
But is it a good thing?
Are we? We could say that about again anything, right? So let's say, okay, this person lives in this kind of house. Are you arguing for them as well? And they live in this kind of home. That person is. Can we say that? Are we helping them? And now we're putting ourselves in this thing where our own species we can't even help. But then we're like, okay, what about this lonely thing that can't do? But you know what? They have a shorter lifespan than we do. So who are you trying to help? We're not even giving love to our own species to a point where we're going to another species because we're like, okay, maybe we can do this instead because we don't know how to do this and we can't even help our own. And that's that tribalism issue that we were talking about earlier, because that to a whole new thing with animals, and they're a different species, but we're like, well, no, we can do something about them though, because we can't love our own. And I think that's also a big problem.
I don't think that we should be ignorant or turn a blind eye, so to speak, toward any kind of oppression.
No, we shouldn't, but we don't. But we don't try hard enough. That's the issue. It's the issue of understanding. Like right now, we have a whole thing: Palestine and Israel bombing each other, going situations. Who's helping? Are we really? Anyone go over there? Has anyone really gone over there to try to figure things out and help things out instead of just yippee-yapping at each other? It's the same thing with the animals and so on. It's everything's just yipping. It's who's actually helping. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right. Well, I appreciate your stopping, and I'd like to give you just a little pamphlet, if I may,
Sure.
from a place called Vegan Outreach. Thank you for being open to that.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate your time as well.
Yes.
I like the shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
There's like melons and apples and
It's
dragon fruit.
It's a summertime, yeah.
Or is that maybe it's passion fruit? I'm not sure. Kiwi.
There's a
That's
kiwi.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe a pear over there.
Going
Or,
on.
that's like maybe it's a
lot of
blue
fruits.
avocado.
A lot of fruits.
I love fruits. So
But this is what you were talking about. This is a mass-produced situation.
Yep.
I've lived in third world countries, and they're not like that. They'll have little farms, and you go up and okay, I would like the chicken for the day. The chicken's doing just fine, and head comes off. It runs around a little. It's food.
what do you think about not in countries where they're in kind of a more desperate situation, but the head comes off part when it comes to in the U.S. Do you think that obviously the U.S. is a big place?
The United States is not. We don't treat our people well.
We do agree on that 100%.
Yeah, so,
Tony, well, thank you so much for stopping.
Pleasure, no
I
problem.
appreciate your time. And Mickey and Lady, be good.
Yes.
Be well.
Are we ready? Take care, man.
All right, take care. Thanks for participating. And if you want to check out the channel, it's my name, Haas Vegan.
That's on here?
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Yep.
So is it on this pamphlet?
It's not on there. That's
Okay.
from Vegan Outreach.
Okay. I gotta spell it again?
It's Haas, H-A-Z, and then just one word,
Okay.
Haas Vegan.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, I bet the video froze. Yeah, I bet the video froze because I got a low battery warning. I'm just checking to see if anybody said the video froze. It probably did freeze a while ago. I'm down to 7% now. But you know what? Oh shoot. I don't know if I actually. It did freeze. Okay. I don't know if my camera is recording. Let me check. I think I did. I did hit record, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, oh no. Oh man. My apparently I think my camera